Hello and welcome to Extreme Gameplays and welcome to the ultimate facts and discoveries about God of War 1. Today is a special episode. Today's episode of Facts and Discoveries is done in a collaboration with Xristos Zimnas, a very talented challenge runner for God of War. So in the first part of the Facts and Discoveries video, I went through some discoveries and he dropped these two gigantic comments filled with amazing discoveries about the game. And today we're gonna be going through all these amazing discoveries done by Xristos and all the other members of the Ultimate God of War Union in this video. Sit back, watch and observe carefully while I go through these awesome discoveries that Xristos shared. Alright, straight out the way, we're starting with the best one. God of War 1 is the only God of War game that allows you to redirect Orion's harpoon on all the enemies. This will come even more in handy in a bit, so keep on watching. This is something that got ditched in later games where you couldn't redirect the enemy slamming position, except for God of War 3 where you could do it to the Olympus Archer and the Olympus Fiend. In God of War 1, you can do it to all the enemies. Next up, God of War 1 has this weapon, the Blade of Artemis, and this weapon has some unintended hit reaction to it in the form of home run techniques. Zesty, what do you mean home run techniques? This can be very useful to ring out these folks while you fight them. You just straight up send them flying to the Shadow Realm. There are three main ways to use it to full effect. The first one comes in the form of punt. This one is essentially bouncing the enemy and then using the Ascension of Artemis move. In this case, you're watching me go square, square, circle, and now the enemy bounced, he's in position. Now I'm gonna press L1 and triangle and watch the magic happen. So this was the first one done using a bounce effect on the enemy. This works like wonders against satyrs, especially these 11 satyrs here. So make sure to use it. The second one, simply called home run, is a lot more straightforward. Any launcher into Ascension of Artemis gives us the home run effect. See, in this case, I'm gonna go L1 and triangle into another L1 and triangle, and the enemies are sent off flying. This does not work on satyrs though. The third and last one is called the spike. This one sees Kratos launching an enemy and following him up into the air and pressing triangle in the air to send the enemy flying away. This works on all enemies. This is especially useful against these minotaurs. And that was the home run technique that me and pretty sure a whole bunch of you guys just learned. Such a nice technique, I can't not use it now. Thank you, Xristos. Next discovery, the Blade of Artemis summoning animation gives you iframes, invincibility frames. This is more commonly known as tricking amongst the pro players. This can help you go through unblockable attacks. You can also get the same summoning animation by pressing L2 to have Zeus' lightning in hand, so go figure. Did you know that rapid use of Zeus' fury while having the Blade of Artemis equipped can result in the enemies having a mental breakdown? It's true, you can break their AI and they don't attack momentarily. Next up, if you execute an air special attack or Army of Hades magic attack right before landing after a jump, Kratos gets something called lenient air momentum. This is sometimes used for long jumps, it also looks funny. Here's something not a lot of you know, but the maxed out Blades of Chaos that you use throughout the game are weaker than the Blades of Athena that you get after killing Ares. The multiplier, I said multiplier, not Markiplier, please. The multiplier for the Blades of Chaos is 4.0, while it's 5.0 for the Blades of Athena. Cool. Did you know this amazing animation of an air grab is completely and utterly useless? That's right, the Pandoran Satyr's air grab does 0 damage, and that's confirmed by the devs. Thankfully, it got fixed in later games, but man, I've grabbed that satyr 50 times in the air. All that was nothing. This move only looks good, but it does 0 damage. Cool. God of War 1 is the only God of War where the very hard difficulty drops stats to 50%. Later games drop them to 75%. See, I told you God of War 1 is brutal with its difficulty. Also, one more thing about stats in God of War and their difficulties. The stats don't work as straightforward as you think. If you decrease the difficulty down to easy mode, the enemy's health does not decrease, rather your power percent increases, meaning you do more damage rather than the enemy's health decreasing. So you have that and vice versa in harder difficulties. If you go on very hard, you start doing 50% damage, but that's still not it. The enemy's power percent increases here. See? Quick facts. Next up, we have a very important matter, and I will try my best to educate you on collisions. What is a collision? It's essentially throwing one enemy to another. That's a collision. We have two types of collisions: full collisions and half collisions. The full collisions are done by executing certain grabs. The 360 toss on the Legionnaire is a full collision. The aforementioned Orion's Harpoon is a full collision. Now you know why it's important that you can redirect it. And Cerberus's grab is also a full collision. This will mean a lot more in a second, just keep up for now. That was the full collisions. Now we also have half collisions that occur mainly with knockbacks. You have square 6, the light ender. You can also do it by pressing triangle, triangle, square. We also have a second half collision by using the Lance of the Furies. And the best one we have holding square, which of course, you know, the last knockback, that is the best one. You throw all of these enemies around and they damage all their surroundings. But still, that's a half collision. And finally, the third one is by pressing triangle in the air with the Blade of Artemis. And that was a basic collisions definition that I hope you just learned. I tried my best there, but that's not it. Collisions scale with difficulty, meaning the harder the difficulty, the harder the collision, the harder my Let's say you're playing on normal. The enemy's power percent is 100%. A full collision is 10, while the half collision is 5. Here's why collision scaling with difficulty options the higher you go is awesome. So let's say on normal difficulty, the enemy's power is at 100%. Very hard puts enemies at 500%. Now we just discussed that a full collision on normal where enemies are 100% is 10. The full collision is 10 and the half collision is 5. Now that we are on higher difficulty where the enemy's power is 500%, the full collision went up to 50 and the half collision went up to 25. Keep in mind that enemies' health never gets altered, only their power percent. So now a full collision went from 10 to 50 and the half collision went from 5 to 25. So now you have OP tools in your arsenal. Now you know why that simple 360 toss that you did suddenly killed a bunch of enemies surrounding you on very hard. The harder the difficulty, the better the collision. This is something that really came in handy when I learned, and I really hope I did a good job educating you guys about all of this. If not, feel free to correct me and you'll get pinned. Man, that was a lot of discoveries and nearly all of them really useful, but guess what? Xristos is still not done with sharing the wealth. Did you know in some versions of the game you can recharge your Rage of the Gods meter by grabbing these destructible objects? Go ahead and try it, your version might just be that version. Mine does not work as you can see on the screen, but what's stopping you from trying? Minotaur Tormentors cannot be launched into the air with your Blade's launchers, unless he just started spawning. Otherwise he would never let you launch him with the blades. You can, however, launch him with the Blade of Artemis, but not with the Blades of Chaos unless he just spawned and you somehow caught him there. You can, however, still bounce him and stuff, but don't think about holding triangle or doing L1 and X special attack. Just use triangle's first attack. In God of War 1, you get rage points by getting hit. Wow. And here's one last big body of a movie script that Xristos left in his reply. The enemy's petrification resistance statue, HP. The health every enemy has when they get frozen with Medusa's gaze. I'm just gonna put it on the screen for y'all to read them if you need them some other time. God damn. With that amazing closure, we get to the end of today's video of facts and discoveries in God of War 1. Expect the part 2 of all the God of Wars to be insane, just like this one you just watched. Cause this man's comments are pinned on all the other part 1s as well. God of War 2 facts video part 1 and the God of War 3 facts video part 1 as well. Expect him to comment crazy on God of War Ascensions part 1 as well. I want to thank Xristos Zimnas again for sharing all of these awesome discoveries that surely have helped me in my latest walkthroughs of God of War 1. Check his channel out, man. He does some crazy amazing challenges that you just love to watch them. I also hope I helped by sharing the info with you guys. If you like God of War content, just make sure to subscribe because I make God of War content. Thank you so much for 13,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. The goal for now is 15,000 subscribers before God of War Ragnarok drops, and if not, so what? Y'all are still the best. I mean, what? You can't subscribe twice. Anyways, it has been your stream gamer Zesty. Peace.